Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to Knicks Media. This is Richie, and in this video, I want to talk about the Knicks rookie, the draft pick in the second round with the 42nd overall pick, Trevor Keels from Duke. I already made a video of my initial reaction when we drafted him the morning after the NBA draft, but now we have a couple days to digest that draft pick. I did a lot of research and a lot of things that came up from Trevor Keels that I feel like you guys would be intrigued about. If you guys have my overall thoughts on what we should expect from Trevor Keels in his rookie season and his potential in the future for the New York Knicks, I'm also going to be referencing an article posted on the NY Post by Zach Brazeiler. He actually interviewed a Duke assistant coach, and he had nothing but positive things to say about Trevor Keels' potential in the NBA, saying, quote, NBA starter in Knicks Trevor Keels, potential is there. So I feel like Knicks fans should get excited about Trevor Keels because he could potentially be a steal in the second round if everything goes well and if he is developed properly by the New York Knicks coaching staff. So before we hop into the video, I just want to mention, if you guys are new to Knicks Media, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Got a lot of Knicks content coming your way all throughout the rest of the offseason and, of course, carrying over into the season. And if you guys enjoy the video, please do not forget to thumbs it up. And if you want to check me out over on Instagram and Twitter, that is at NYKnicks_media. So let's get right into the video. So Trevor Keels is a player that we all know came from Duke. He's an 18-year-old that was part of a stacked Duke roster that 3 players ahead of him got drafted at Duke. So all of his teammates went ahead of him in the NBA draft. Now he's a player that fell to the Knicks at 42. And the one thing that I really noticed about his play style when I watched his tape and I watched everything about him and I read up about him is he screams a Tom Thibodeau type of player that he would love to develop and actually give minutes to. I feel like Trevor Keels could potentially get minutes as a rookie. Now, the first instincts everyone's going to say is, Richie, there's no shot. Tom Thibodeau is not a coach to give young players minutes. We all know that he's a guy that loves playing the veterans. And if you look at the roster right now, we don't know what's going to happen in free agency in the draft. I mean, not the draft, the trade market, because we know that there's going to be a lot of moves. There's some players we're going to be trading away. There's some players that are going to be adding to the roster. So if you look at the roster on paper, there's no really minutes for Trevor Keels. But I do feel like this is a player that if the Knicks are smart, are going to develop and make him into that role that's a defensive guard that can develop in his game, because he has so much potential in this league. And I really want to talk about this article because I feel like you guys would be really interested. If you guys want to read this article yourself, I'll leave it down below in the description. It's posted on NY Post by Zach Brazeiler, and it's really, really great. He had an interview, like I said, with the Duke assistant coach, Chris Carrawell. So let's get right into the article. To read it, he said, the Knicks traded out of the first round on draft night, but they might have landed a player with the upside of a first-round pick. At least that's what Chris Carrawell believes the Knicks have in Trevor Keels. The one-and-done guard had up-and-down season with the Blue Devils, averaging 11.5 points, 3.4 rebounds, but the former 5-star recruit was still projected by some to find his way into the first round. That did not happen, and the Knicks ended up selecting him with the 42nd overall pick. I think he's a starter in the NBA. It's harder when you're a second-round pick, but he's only 18. If he stays with it and gets an opportunity and improves, I compare him to Marcus Smart. In a year, if he stayed in school, he would have been a potential lottery pick and guaranteed first-round pick for sure. Potential is there. I think the Knicks got a steal. So this is really interesting, and obviously, you're hearing this from a Duke assistant coach who knows Trevor Keels personally. He had him on the roster. He was coaching him, and I feel like this is something that Knicks fans should really hold on to, because I love the comparison that he made with Marcus Smart. You guys saw what the Boston Celtics did this past season, going into the NBA Finals, winning the Eastern Conference, and Marcus Smart was a huge reason for that. Obviously, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are the 2 stars of that team, but everybody that watched the Boston Celtics knows that Marcus Smart is a huge reason for that success. He's the defensive mindset. He's the guy that sets the tone. He's the gritty guy that just really sets the tone on the defensive side of the ball. Now, Tom Thibodeau, we all know, is a defensive head coach. If you look at the raw tools that Trevor Keels possesses physically, he has the body type to really develop into a guy that can match up against any guy in the NBA defensively. He's physical. He's a former defensive end. He used to play football, so that tells you that he has that grittiness within him. If you play in the trenches in football, you know that if you translate into the basketball world, you're going to be able to have that physicality within you. Now, if you look at Trevor Keels' game at Duke, he did show flashes against, really good opponents. His best game of his career at Duke was in Madison Square Garden, and he's a guy that really looked like a player that, if given the opportunity, he would thrive. Now, he wasn't consistent at Duke. He did have this really great game, and then he did kind of, not really play that at that level where Duke fans were kind of disappointed, and they were like, where's that Trevor Keels that we saw him at the Garden? I wish he can do that for the rest of the season. But that's something that you have in an 18-year-old player that's only going to get better, because the potential is truly there. And if the Knicks can get a steal in the second round, that's huge. And another big point that I took away from this quote from the Duke assistant coach is, if he stayed in Duke this year and he played as a sophomore, that he would be be a guaranteed first-round pick, potentially even a lottery pick. I think the biggest reason why he went in the second round, he was not a player that was looked highly on, is because he did not get a lot of looks at Duke because of all the talent around him, and he just wasn't featured a lot at Duke University in his freshman season as a young 18-year-old. So I feel like if he was a player to stay in Duke, he would potentially be a lottery pick, and that tells me a lot, that the raw talent is there, and the Knicks are taking a flyer on a player that really could become a guy that would be, you know, a core piece of that defense. Now, we see what the Knicks have done the past couple of drafts by drafting a little win-now type players, a little older, like Obi Toppin, even Quentin Grimes. You know, those guys are, they're not like old by any means, but they weren't drafting 18, 19-year-olds. They drafted RJ Barrett out of Duke at 19, and now we know that he's becoming our own star. But outside of that, you know, we drafted Kevin Knox when he was 18. Obviously, that was a different regime. Same with Frank Ntilikina. He was 18, different regime. Leon Rose seems like, outside of this pick with Trevor Keels, used to draft guys that was a sophomore out of college or a junior out of college or even a senior out of college. So it really is cool to see that the Knicks are taking a flyer out of a player from Duke that is coming off a freshman season that didn't really do anything crazy, but there's no denying that he's a player that would fit the Tom Thibodeau system beautifully. And I really want to highlight him in this video because I feel like Knicks fans, if you watch his highlights, if you watch, you know, all the things that he did at Duke, and you read up on his scouting profile and you do a lot of research on him, there's some potential there. His body type is serious. Now, if you want to get into what he needs to work on in order to really take that next step, you know, that's something that is on the offensive side of the ball, right? He did not shoot the ball well from the perimeter at Duke, around 32% from three, but you can see if you watch the tape that he does make some difficult shots. He likes to take shots off the dribble. He has that ability to shoot, you know, mid-range jump shots. He just wasn't hitting it at a high efficient level, and at the same time, I feel like at Duke, he just wasn't given the opportunity to really work on his game as much, where in the Knicks, especially in the Summer League, which I'm really excited to see Trevor Keels take over, because he's going to be gifted the opportunity to run the show. He's going to be the guy in Summer League where we're going to be looking at him like, okay, you're our second round pick. You're basically our only draft pick we have in the 2022 draft outside of Gene Montero, who's an undrafted free agent. But I feel like this could be potentially a player that Knicks fans fall in love with, because newsflash, guys, the Knicks have been doing pretty darn good in the draft in terms of second round picks. We saw last year Deuce McBride get a lot of minutes, and a lot of Knicks fans are excited about his potential. We saw Jericho Sims, the 58th overall pick last year. He was getting a lot of minutes and he wasn't looking terrible. I feel like Jericho Sims has a lot of potential. And we also, of course, know Mitchell Robinson is a player that we're all hoping can be re-signed to a long-term contract. He's a second round pick as well. So it's not like just because you're not a first round pick in the NBA draft, you have no future in this league. And I know that you guys understand this, but just because we traded out of that 11th overall pick in the first round and we're not coming away with a first round pick, which we're all used to doing every single season as a New York Knicks fan base, I don't even know the last time the Knicks are coming out of the NBA draft without a first round pick. I have to go back to what, 2014 or something like that? I could be wrong. That's not the exact year probably, but every single season it feels like the Knicks are drafting the first round. This is the first one where we're not, but don't get it twisted. Trevor Keels is a first-round talent, and I feel like Knicks fans should be excited about him, not feeling like he's the superstar of the future for this franchise. No, I feel like if he's developed properly, he could become that guy that is a really important piece to the heart and soul and the culture and the grittiness of this roster, of this team, to really set the tone on defense if he's developed properly, because we need physicality. We need people that can lock people up on the perimeter. We need people to really have that tenacious mindset that can really set the tone, and I feel like his body is a big-time plus, but at the same time, he needs to make sure that he is on top of his game nutrition-wise and staying in the weight room and keeping his mind locked in, which the Duke assistant coach had to say great things about him. So I just want to make this video to give you guys my thoughts of the Knicks rookie this season and highlight this article on the New York Post. I feel like it's a beautifully written article, so make sure you guys check that out. I'll leave it down below in the description if you guys want to check it out on your own. Yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts down below of Trevor Keels. What's your expectations from him heading into his rookie season? Do you think he's going to be doing great things? Do you think he's not going to get any minutes at all? Do you think that he's more of a long-term solution for developing properly? Or do you think we got a steal? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down below in the comments. And of course, don't forget to like the video if you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Let's go Knicks. Peace out.